Welcome to the Untold Truth. I'm Master Eric, and this is Siobhan. You all know him from many programs now. I want to say welcome, and I hope you've all had a safe day today. And we're going to have an interesting topic tonight. But before we go into the topic, if you have any questions pertaining to the program that we're doing tonight, WhatsApp your question to 354-4459. And if you're international, just put a 1 and an 868, then 354-4459. Siobhan, today we had a great program in the morning.
Yes, definitely.
It took a spin, but it was very good. And I know the public heard it. And tonight, we're actually going to have another one. But before I do that, I want to thank our sponsor, which is Z&B Communications Limited in Fred's Plaza, 26 Eastern Main Road, San Juan. And their numbers are 292-6470 or 392-2986. And this is also being aired, and I want to thank U97.5 FM radio, which falls under Z&B Communications Limited. And I want to say thank you, and I want to say hello to all the listeners on the radio, and I want to say hello to all of you that are viewing us live on social media. So tonight, we're going to have a program, and it's called Evolving with Your Soul. So, Siobhan, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. What do you think that means? Wow. Evolving with your soul.
Oh, evolving with my soul. So in my understanding, evolving with your soul is actually establishing that connection with the soul, that entity inside you, that you are not this body, but the body is powered by something. And sometimes we feel as though we are, the body is actually us, but it's not really us. So evolving with your soul, in my understanding, is that establishing that connection and establishing that source you came from.
Okay. Not bad.
Thanks.
Not bad. And every viewpoint is important. You know, if you guys have a great explanation, WhatsApp it in. I'm going to read it. I want you to understand, everybody. You're going through your everyday life. You got your job. You got a wife, maybe, girlfriend. You're in school. There's many things that you're experiencing every day. But when you're experiencing it every day, is that really you? Are you experiencing that? First, you have to define who are you as an individual. So, Siobhan. No, I'm not going to ask you. Can I ask one of you guys out there? You, would you come up to the mic? We have some people here, and I just want them to get involved so they're not bashful or anything like that. But I want some input, right? So, who are you?
Is the mic on?
Yeah.
I am a spiritual being experiencing an earthly experience, having an earthly experience, interacting with other like-minded beings and those who are not like-minded. But basically, I am a spiritual entity, a spiritual source, a spiritual energy having an earthly experience. Having a limited experience, because I feel like the earthly experience has so much limitations. Unlike when we are in the soul or the spirit realm, it's limitless at that point in time. So here I am on earth, trying to remember, rediscover, reconnect to who I really am.
Perfect. You know, that's one of the best explanations I've seen. Don't go away. That's one of the best explanations
Yes.
I've heard an individual give. So now, you said you're a spiritual being occupying this body, this vessel, correct?
Correct.
And then you are trying to remember. What do you think you're trying to remember?
Okay, so that's an interesting experience. Interesting statement because I think it's a combination. I'm trying to remember my past experiences because we learn from our past experiences.
And your current.
Correct. So in learning about the past experiences, we're able to remember things that we've gone through before would actually help us in making decisions that we have now. That's evolving. Since the program is evolving with your soul, we are evolving every day. That's the aim, to evolve, to grow, to mature.
And to merge.
Yes. So I'm remembering my strengths, remembering my weaknesses, how those weaknesses came about, how could I be stronger, what did I have to not do, what can I do to get past those weaknesses, how can I develop my strengths more, what are my gifts, my natural gifts, because we're not all the same. Some of us can sing, some of us can dance, some of us can channel and manifest, some of us are natural healers. So who am I? What are my gifts? What is my purpose in this manifestation at this point in time?
So let me ask you a question. A lot of scriptures, the ancient scriptures, state that before you're born in this life, that you make a promise to God. That it's a promise that you're going to try to fulfill in this life. Now, a lot of beliefs think and state that your life is written before you're born, and that God knows what your journey is going to entail. Now, do you yourself believe that maybe your soul might have made an agreement with God? It's a tough question.
It is a tough question because there are times when I believe there are aspects of yourself that's written, there are contracts made, for want of a better word. So we come back here with the aim of being better than we were before. So there's a contract that was probably done, set, and the aim is to achieve that contract. So people always say, well, you don't go before it's your time. And your time is when you've accomplished or achieved what the contract was set for.
Or sometimes they say your time is already preset, that you're going to leave here. And some leave before time. And some live on time, leave on time. And then some don't leave. They're stuck here. This is what we're going to get into tonight. Different aspects of different type of souls and what will hinder a soul to merge with you. See, the aspect, there's so many people, and I know there's a lot of people listening, there's a lot of people watching today. And just have a seat in the red chair because I'm not done with you yet. On there, they have this yearning. There's an emptiness, something that they feel is missing. And a lot of people mistake it for a physical or a materialistic thing.
Correct.
And then they end up hunting, trying to find that place, that belief, and try to fulfill that emptiness within them. But what do you think causes that feeling inside of a person of that they're missing something?
So I think that goes back to the remembering, trying to remember, trying to reconnect. So it's like if you had your worldly possessions, you had your house, your car, and then your car got stolen. You've lost your car. You can't function without your car because it once made you happy, it was convenient for you. But then, so there's an amnesia. You can't remember you lost your car, but it was a convenience that the car brought to you that you felt happy with the car. That's kind of like what we're going through here. There was something that made me happy that was part of my everyday function in my previous incarnations or in my spiritual realm. And I'm trying to remember what that was.
So let me ask you something. What about those beliefs? Now, I'm not knocking nobody. We don't do this here. I'm just trying to look on the subject from different aspects and different angles. What about the beliefs that don't and refuse to acknowledge reincarnation?
I was once one of those people.
Correct. But what I'm saying, I'm not saying their belief is wrong. What I'm saying, though, there are still many of them that are experiencing what we're talking about today. Okay? Now, do you also believe, I want your opinion, that after a person leaves the earth, and let's say he was a good soul, not perfect, but good, and he believed in God in his own way, and he went through judgment. Now they also talk about the 7 realms. And then realms 4, 5, 6, and 7 are heaven. And there's different ones. Now, do you believe that when you are about to be reincarnated again, the soul has the option to get rid of the karma that he collected in the past, can set his destination on earth by picking his own mother to burn off karma?
By picking his own mother.
To hide. The reason is he comes through the mother.
No, I'll tell you why that statement has hit home for me. So when I was pregnant with my first baby, she was probably about 3 months old, that much. And I had her in my arms. And I'm sitting on the bed. I fell asleep, but I think in my head, I closed my eyes for a couple of seconds. And when I opened my eyes, there's a little girl sitting on my lap, about 7, 8 years old, hair and two. And she looks at me and she said, "Thank you for choosing me." And I said, "No, thank you for choosing me." And she smiled, and I opened back my eyes with my daughter still in my arms. The room was exactly how it was. And I knew instantly I connected to my child's soul. That's how I felt.
Right.
She couldn't speak to me at 3 months, but she was acknowledging that she chose me, I chose her. So I felt that this was destiny. So to answer your question, I don't know if we choose our mothers to redo a karmic situation, to get rid of karma. I don't know if that's the reason.
No, I'm saying that's what some say.
Some say. So I've never heard of that. That's new to me.
Well, the reason I'm asking that is some people, when they hear what you just said and what I've just said, that they say, "Oh my God, why would I pick a mother and family that has tortured me and has battered me and demeanored me? Why on earth would I have done that?" And they said, "Was God unjust?" And I said, "Did you ever look at it from the spiritual point of view? Did you pick that mother knowing who she was and knowing to uplift yourself as that inner soul, that you made a commitment to come and help that mother and that family and try to change that mother and family and make them better on this earth?"
My brain just went,
See, this is how we have to start looking at what is the different divisions and purpose of the soul. Now, some people believe, and I want your opinion, and I want your guest to give me his opinion. Some people say that we are born on earth, and this is a testing and learning ground. This is for us to distinguish. Now, the difference between living here and fulfilling our purpose here. Now, the problem that humans have, we're raised in a family. We're raised, now every family you're raised and you learn a culture.
Yes.
You learn a belief. So look in Trinidad, we have Hindus, we have Christians, we have almost everybody you could think of. So that soul knew when it was coming in that it would be learning that belief. Now, as we are coming into the world, we go to school. We learn things from society, their cultures, their traditions, the way people think. Then as we grow a little older, our subconscious, which is the link to God, or some say the universe, or some say the higher power, it starts to have a conflict between the soul and God and your physical mind. So have you ever had that intuition, you too, have you ever had that intuition when you went somewhere or you were going to do something and that inner voice that you had was telling you no?
All the time.
Don't. Now, at the same time, it's saying no. Your physical mind, by the way it's been taught, is trying to justify why you should still do it. And this is where we start having the problems. And then people wonder, why do we not? Why are we always making bad decisions? What are we basing the decision on? Is it what we learned and what society dictates? Or is it what the eternal voice is trying to guide you? So let me just ask you, and I've never asked your name, so nobody knows who you are. How many times, if you didn't listen to the voice, did things go perfect?
Can't think of one.
This is what I'm trying to say.
I cannot think of one. As a matter of fact, almost every time things don't go the way I would like it to, you go back and you remember saying, you know, I was really feeling I shouldn't have done that, you know. Or there are times when you do listen to your intuition, because the older I got, the more I trained myself to listen to my gut feeling more. So I've come to a point where I'm not as, I would say, gullible to my physical human side. Because I've actually been better at that, more conscious, more aware of that. So a simple thing that I'm driving on the street, and for some reason I should have turned right, but I felt a gut instinct to continue straight. I'll continue straight. I'll figure it out afterwards. And I've taught myself that.
Now, have you seen that after you do this for a while and you're making that connection and you're actually being guided by your subconscious mind, your soul, have you noticed that at the time it may not make sense?
Correct, yes.
But when you have that belief, after you get past a little way, a little longer, that it makes total sense.
And even if it doesn't make sense to me, I tell myself there was something that was supposed to occur that I was protected from, I was guided
Correct.
from.
So this is what I want people to understand out there. So now, why do you think it's so important that every being on this earth should try and attempt to make that connection within their own self, with their soul? Don't you see the valid importance of making that connection? Now, after you've made that connection for a while, Shiv, don't you think that your soul will guide you in the direction to the place and to a person that can help explain and maybe help you define what your purpose is?
Definitely.
There's a quote out of the Bhagavad Gita, and this is a Hindu quote. And Lord Krishna stated, there was a deer, and the deer smelt this fabulous musk scent. And he loved that scent. So he ran here, he ran there, he ran everywhere to try to find where that scent come from. Only to realize that scent came from his own navel. So my question is, why are we all running around like that, trying to find something to fill the void that we have inside of us when it's been there all the time? Do you agree or disagree?
I think it's difficult to answer that because I think part of being human, even though you may have something in you, so let's say your intuition, as you were speaking about, says to do X, Y, Z. And we don't listen to that intuition and we do something else. Or we go for what I think validation from others. I think as human beings, we want confirmation that our decisions are correct or our intuition is correct. So even though you have an intuition on something, you go to a friend and say, hey, I want to ask a question about something. You think X, Y, Z, because we need validation. We need confirmation, even though the intuition is there and it's in us and we feel it in our gut. Because we don't live on this planet by ourselves and we're not just dealing with ourselves, I think it's natural for us to want confirmation. Why do people come? I'm a tarot card reader. Why do people come by me when half the times they know the bloody answer, but they come by me desperate for an answer?
Like the other day when we met,
Yes.
and I made the same statement. When people come, they already know. They want somebody to
correct.
confirm it.
Most of the times they know. There are things, of course, they have no idea about.
Correct.
We understand that. But there are so many times when people come, especially in relationship readings, and they know the person is cheating, but they just want confirmation. They know the person doesn't love them, but they just want confirmation. Yeah. They know that this relationship really sucks. But maybe if they tell me to hold on a little bit, maybe if they tell me X, Y, Z, it's confirmation.
Just hold on 1 second. I have to do this. Everybody, we want to recognize the sponsor tonight, which is ZMB Communications Limited. They're in Fred Plaza on 26 Eastern Main Road, San Juan. And their numbers are 292-6470 and 392-2986. And we want to say thank you because that studio, we were there this morning, the radio station, very professional. And I know all of you listeners love to watch and listen to them. I want to say thank you. So back to what we were saying. Now, I want to go a little more in depth. So the process of coming, we've pretty well defined that. But I have a question that just came across the screen. And it said, great program tonight. But the question is, how do you make that connection with your soul and God Himself?
I think that's a very long answer.
No, it is. But the thing is, and I said it this morning, before you do the actual connection with God and your soul, I want you to understand one thing. Your soul is pure. It's not contaminated. The only thing that's contaminated between you and the soul is your personality, you yourself, the physical. Now, contamination does seep in throughout your life. That's why when the soul leaves the body, you have to tear the sheaths. There's 7 sheaths that come off the soul. And we're going to go into that a little bit later. Now, on the journey of the soul, when the soul leaves the body, it's written in some scriptures that the soul leaves and the orb of the soul is the size of the nail of your pinky finger. And when it leaves, there's a duration of time. Some beliefs say 40 days. Some beliefs say after the Bandara and your 1 yearly prayers. Other people, they have 40 days also. Some beliefs say you go straight. There is no time. Now, during that transition time, your soul evolves to the astral form of your physical body. And then once it starts to move, it has to go through a purification process. Now, why do you think it needs to have a purification process?
Actually, I never even thought about any of that. I actually don't. This is.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Yeah, so I didn't actually believe there was any purification process to go through.
Because you have to get from your astral body to a spiritual body. 2 different ball games. And that's why they say you go through the valley of the dead. And when you go through the valley of the dead, the energies of there, it moves within your astral sense. It moves left to right, up to down. And it centers the actual being of the soul, because the soul has 3 layers. And I want to get into that in another program. But what I'm trying to get at, there's an ending process, a leaving process, and an entering process. Then there's an intern process. And the intern process is for you, in the physical sense, to connect to the soul. Now, some believe that you connect to the soul through devotion, through prayers.
Meditation.
Correct. Meditation, yoga. There's different methods. And I'm a firm believer that there isn't just one method, that each one of us are different. So what may be great for him, something else might be better for you. And this is why it's important to have a teacher. One that's very well versed, well rounded, that can guide you, that specifically fits with you to your personality and where they think that you should go, like for your purpose, right? Now, some people may know your purpose, but you know they can't tell you. They can guide you to where you will find out your purpose on your own. A person, a spiritual leader, is not allowed to give you that direct answer. It is something that he will guide you, direct you. I see you nodding your head. You agree. And it is your purpose. That's why you were born in this physical body. To actually experience and try to understand what your purpose is here. But people who try to do it on their own, sometimes they never find that purpose. A lot of people think that being married, having kids, having a job is your purpose. That's your duty. If you're married, you have a duty to the wife. If you're married and you have children, you have a duty to the children. That's not your purpose. So to distinguish what purpose and duty is where people have a problem. Mm-hmm. And what we're trying to do with these programs is to give people an understanding of what the processes may be. But before you give the process, they have to understand what is your soul. Who are you? Now, let's put another spin on it. And the other spin is, before you're born, it is written that you pick your mother. We already went over that. But it is also written that the soul, when it enters into the womb, into the fetus, it can back out and go back. When it goes out and comes back, another soul will come in. It depends on the condition.
What do you call that, a miscarriage?
Some people say that when the soul leaves and another soul does not re-enter into the body, it may and could be classed as a miscarriage. Or it could be, God forbid, if a baby is born and it dies at birth before it takes its breath.
Oh.
So what I'm trying to say, so how important is having your soul? Do you believe that your soul is the life of you? Do you believe that the soul is what started you as a baby, as a fetus?
Of course, because we didn't have any physical body as a fetus, right? So it has to be the soul.
Okay. So now we've distinguished that. Oh boy, we have another question coming in. This is going to get good. I just saw the first of it. So what about IVF, where there is no mother present? What happens then? Well, I want you to understand that IVF, well, there's different phases of it, but IVF is where they will take the egg, they will take the sperm, And it's almost like a test tube baby.
Yeah, but there is a mother present. The egg came from a woman.
The egg came from a woman, but what she's saying is the feeding, the nurturing, the warmth, the love
Yeah, but
of the development.
don't they replant that back into the woman's...
Not in all cases.
Okay.
Some cases they do, yes. Or they may, if that woman cannot carry it, they may have a surrogate mother and they'll implant it then. So there are different, but I think what they're trying to ask, does that hinder the development of the soul? That's a tricky question. That's a tricky question. And I want to do a little bit more research on that before I answer that. And there's a group that I'm on, and it's a bunch of scholars I talked about this morning. And we throw ideas out, and they bounce it for every belief, and it comes in. And she said, where is the love for that creation?
But see, that person is basing the creation of his soul on love or on emotion or whatever. The soul, the energy behind the fetus, there's a soul there. It doesn't mean that a soul can't come on its earthly plane if there wasn't love, if there wasn't an emotion. She's basing a soul on an emotional state of procreation.
See, this is where we need to go a little deeper in research because we don't want to give a wrong answer. What I think she's trying to say is when a baby is produced, now there are people who come together, they have relations, and it wasn't even in their psyche to have a baby. But the baby's born. And now when the baby's born, it's not shown love because it wasn't planned. I've heard people right here in this country when it came up to carnival time, and I heard it from their mouth. And those parents, the mother said, I wish you were never born. Because look now, I got to find a babysitter. I can't find one to watch you. Why? So I can't play mass. So I think what this individual was trying to say, shouldn't a baby be created through love?
I mean, on textbook, that's what we want. Yes, we want to think that we were created in a union that's positive. But that's not what we go back 2,000 words, right?
To the IVF.
No, we go back before that when you said that when a soul decides to come upon this earthly plane, that they chose their mother.
Right.
They chose their mother not based on love or not based on whatever. They chose their mother based on, let's say we don't even know what it's based on. But you did say that you believe that a soul chooses its family, chooses the mother. This person is going under the feeling of, we chose a mother and a father because we would like to be born in a union. We don't, so this is where it gets interesting. We don't know exactly the reasons we chose our parents, our household, or our family, or the experience that we want to have. And I do believe that, yes, when we come back here, we choose to come back here, and we do choose to have the experience that we're having here. And unfortunately, some people have an easier experience than others. Some people are born into an abusive relationship, and then you ask, well, why would a child choose an abusive relationship? But the problem is...
Which we answered that earlier.
Exactly. The problem is that the child is not... The soul is not a child. The soul was here before. we're watching a baby. We don't know the history of the soul behind this baby. So
Right.
I think there's a very blurred, or probably I don't have the answers for that because I feel as though I'm on an interview here, but
No.
I don't have the answers for that. But there must be a reason that some people are born under a household full of love, and there must be a reason why others are not.
So let me ask you something.
But it doesn't take away that a soul is there. Why does the soul choose the experience? That I can't answer.
I don't think anybody can, for sure. There are theories out there. There are people who has traveled and actually seen certain aspects in different realms. The realm that I was always interested in is realm 8, which is off the chart. And I've said in movies that I've done, sages has not even reached realm 8. And there must be a reason that God has made it that way. If somebody went out and found out the full story, would it alter our decisions and our choices that we make? Would there be a learning ground if we knew all the whys and ifs and buts?
Of course.
So I always say the supreme power is the ultimate architect. He's designed everything so perfect to where he's left it open enough to where if we try hard enough and we try to make that attempt, the information will leak to us to actually define our purpose and why we're here. But there's no textbook answer in life. Your path, his path, their path is all different. But the goal is the same.
And what is the goal?
Isn't our goal supposed to be to fulfill our purpose to the best of our ability and try to serve mankind without selfishness, and to make that link with God himself, to make sure that we can actually walk a path and complete our journey to unite back to our real home? This is not our home. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's why some beliefs state that when you leave the earth, you know how most beliefs say that you're judged by God, that you have a life chart.
I don't think so.
No, but hold on. I'm saying what they say.
Yeah.
That there's a life chart. In the ancient beliefs, they call it the Akashic records, right? That's the knowledge. Everything about you is all right there. Well, then there's other ancient beliefs that said that's true. You have the life chart. Everything that you've done is documented. But they're missing one key element. Isn't your soul a particle of God? So then they state, I'm saying they people, I always quote what other scholars say. The ones that really went in depth said that when you leave here and you're on your journey, your whole life flashes in front of the soul to remind the soul what you've done. And they state, when you reach, God doesn't judge you. Your soul judges you. God is just like the man, like a judge in the court. He hears it and says, I agree. So, again, if that statement is true, everyone listening and everybody watching, isn't it about time, no matter what age you are, start making that attempt to try to merge with your soul? And if you don't know how, there are people, even in this country, there's a few, there's people in the world. We're going to have classes coming up in April where we can help guide people, not mandate. I don't believe any spiritual leader should mandate how you should do something. Everything that is in guidance is curtailed to the individual. Do you know why it's down to the individual? Because the accountability of your life is also at the individual level. I can't blame Shiv when I go up and I said this on this podcast. He made me say it. I can't blame him. It was my choice. Everything we do is down to individual accountability. So when we try to make that connection, and personally, how I found my connection, I started in a religion and I tried to learn, but I felt like something was missing. Something was missing. And then when I met my guru, you know, when you meet a teacher and you're like, yeah, boy, let me learn some mantras. Let me learn some prayers. Let me learn this. I want to learn about energy. Huh. You know what I did my first year? I couldn't believe it. Every day, he took me out in the bush. He sat me down and said, meditate on nature. Understand the energies of the earth. Understand why everything was created and everything has its purpose, just like you. You know, okay, here's one that comes in. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, never was there a time where I did not exist, nor you, nor will the time come when both of us stop existing. Meaning to say, the soul is limitless and timeless. What we have within our mortal frame is the Atma, the soul, a fragment, which is a part and parcel of the super soul, God himself. And that's what we were saying earlier. Thank you for that. That is a great statement. And I'm glad you're watching. Thank you. That's you. I just put it together. I'm like, boom. That was a great statement. And I want people to understand. So, when you sat down tonight, everyone, I want you just to find a calm place. I want you to do an inter-reflection of yourself. and actually look at who you are now, what you do now, versus what you think your soul is. And do we need improvement? Everyone needs improvement. But is it time now that maybe you might want to start making that connection? I'm not sitting here trying to baptize everybody in the world. That's not what it's about. That's great, the people that do that and people that get christened. But first, you have to make the choice. Do you think you need that now? The importance of the soul. We could be on this for days and months, justifying why it's so important to merge and evolve within your soul. But we have one thing against us in this world today. Society. The internet. And then questions came in earlier today. Man is trying to defeat nature. They're trying to change nature. In changing the way humans are. And they want to make them into the opposite. Now, would that hinder your soul? Or would it hinder the physical?
Physical.
Why? I want people to understand this.
As the person that sent in the
No, that wasn't the person from the IMF.
the person that sent in the scripture from the Bhagavad Gita.
No, it wasn't from them either. This was earlier
No.
today.
I said I want to quote back something that was said from
Oh,
that.
okay.
The question you asked me.
That God, it
Right.
is a fragment of God.
Right. Exactly. So even though man is trying to change the nature of what it is, and you asked me if that's hindering the soul or hindering the person.
No, I'm saying that was one aspect.
Right. But the
The
question
other-
you asked me is, do I think it's hindering the
Soul or the
right.
physical.
So I think it's hindering the physical.
Correct.
Because
Now,
the
why
soul is
wouldn't-
limitless. The soul itself is limitless. The soul itself is, as the person said tonight, the soul is a fragment and the connection of the greater force. You can't hinder that.
Okay, hold on. So, technically, the soul is genderless.
Correct.
So, when people say it'll affect the soul, that's not true. Now, are there consequences from the past to now when man tried to conquer and take over the position of God by changing nature? And it's been proven. And we're going to go into that next week. Now, why is the soul genderless? Because if you believe, there are a lot of people listening today that don't believe in reincarnation. But if you do believe in reincarnation, you don't come like this every lifetime.
Correct.
You may come as a man. I might come as a black person next time. Or I could be Chinese. Or the physical always alternates. But the soul stays steadfast. And everyone, I hate to say it, we're running out of time. because I love these discussions. I love to get people's point of views. And have you noticed that all of us here tonight, there wasn't no dispute? And it's open, so we're always looking for people's point of views, the way they look, the way they think. Why? When we have debates and talks, it's not a one-way street. We all learn from each other. Even the people that's writing in, we're learning from them. And this is where I want spiritual leaders to try to change. I want you to learn from your devotees. I want you to not restrict your devotees. I want you to start letting them spread their wings. Because when you spread your wings, you cannot put a front cover and a back cover on God if He is limitless. If there's no beginning and no end, how can we put them in a book? What I've learned from my guru and other big teachers that I've had, that what we think we know today, we haven't even scraped the tip of the iceberg. That there's so much information in the universe and what has happened, what's going to happen, that our minds can't even fathom that amount of information. But everyone today, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for coming. I've really enjoyed the conversation. And everyone out there, I want to say thank you for listening, but I want you to think, where are you today? Are you connected with your soul? And if not, and if you need help, you can call us at 354-4459. Because I've been there before, people. I didn't know everything 35, 40 years ago. I still don't. I'm still learning, just like these people here. I'm learning from them. I'm learning from Shiv, everybody else. But I found someone to teach me. And he taught me right at the beginning through meditation. And if you have the proper teacher, you will make that connection. And you will start to experience things that you would never think before. Some people call it bliss. Some people call it ecstasy. I call it, it's a privilege God has let me have. Once you make the attempt, the door's open. But first you have to make the attempt. But everyone, it's at the end of the time. I want to thank you, 97.5 FM. I want to thank ZMB Communications Limited. And they are on Fred's Plaza in San Juan, Eastern Main Road. And I want to say thank you. And everyone, you have a great evening.